everybody. Today we're going to do a little bit of standing Pilates work. We're going to do work for the hips, of course the core, right? Some thigh and some hamstring. So we'll try to get it all in, make it a nice, quick, easy, efficient workout. But the nice thing about standing while you do it is that you get kind of double bang for your buck because your standing leg is going to work in addition to your working leg. So this particular sequence is done on the premise that you've had a moment to warm up. If not, pause, take a minute, jog around the room, take a little walk, and then come back when you're feeling warm and join us here. So we're going to start with the feet underneath the hips. Nice, easy, natural stance. You want to stand up nice and tall so your ears are over your shoulders are over your ribs are over your hips, and your hips are over your heels. We're going to take the hands to heart center to begin, and then you're just going to gently shift the weight over into one foot, but not so far that you're leaning over, just enough that you can pull that opposing foot up off the floor. So you're still reaching the crown of your head straight up toward the ceiling. And we're just going to start with a little lift straight out to the side and release to that hover. Straight out to the side and release to the hover. So we're going to take an exhale up, inhale down. The opposite breath pattern would work just as well. When we exhale on the way up, we're just thinking about that exertion at the side of the hip. But you could also exhale on the way down as a way to create inner leg engagement and a sense of control. So inhaling up and exhaling down. Thigh and knee are pointing straight ahead, so we're not turning the leg out. Let's do about 4 more of these. We're going for cumulative effect, probably starting to feel that standing leg as well. If you notice yourself starting to drift with your torso over to the standing side, maybe try reaching that arm up toward the ceiling to think about that elongation. I think we've got about 1 more to go. Good. And then you're going to lift straight out to the side, and we're going to take little tiny pulses. Breathing into the core. You can inhale 2, exhale 2, knee and toes and thighs still pointing straight ahead. Breathing as we go, elongating straight up through the crown of the head. Let's go for about 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more pulses. Hold the leg up there. Point the foot and draw a little circle in the air. Nice and slow and controlled. Thinking about taking a full breath for every circle that you draw. If that standing leg is starting to really talk, you can give it a moment, shake it out, and then come back when you're ready. Keep breathing that full breath for every circle. Good. Let's reverse the direction of the circle. Make sure you're emphasizing the lift right at the top of the circle. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling my standing side almost more than I'm feeling my working side. Definitely talking. Good. Keep breathing. Keep standing tall, using your core for stabilization. Let's do 2 more. And then we get a quick break. You can bring the hands to the thighs and just do a little shift, hip to hip, release. And then we've got the other side to do. So finding those feet underneath your hips, starting with the hands at the heart, standing up nice and tall. Shift the weight into your standing side. Flex the working side, the foot on the working side. And when you're ready, lift up and control down. Remember, breath can go either way here. So if you're really feeling it in the outer hip, exhale up. If you notice that you need a little extra control on the way down, that's when you would want to exhale down. Good. If you notice that your torso is starting to drift over towards your standing side, remember you always have that option of reaching straight up. You want to think about your rib cage staying aligned with your hip. Nice and easy. It's almost like you're thinking about pushing and pulling through thick air. I always like the image of molasses. If you ever think about how you get molasses out of a jar, nice and slow. We've got about 4 more of these. Let's do 2 more. 1 more. Remember, you can always shake out that standing side. And then we're gonna lift straight out to the side in little tiny pulses. Little tiny ups. Whew. Remember, if you need it, quick little release and right back into it. Keep breathing. Remember, inhale 2, exhale 2. Knee and toes pointing straight ahead. Let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it there. Point the foot. Draw that small circle. There is no shame in a quick little release. I needed it in order to keep going and showing you guys good form. Breathe. Remember, emphasize that lift right at the top of the circle. Keep the shoulders right over the ribs. Whew, couple more. And reverse the direction of your circle. Take it the other way. Remember, we get a quick little break right after these circles, so fight for this balance. Fight through the burn. Take that full breath for every circle. We've got 2 more. And again, bend over, find the hands on the thighs, and just do that little shift and twist, side to side. Good. And then when you're ready, go ahead and come back to standing. Remember that you could always hold on to the back of a couch or a chair or a tabletop, countertop, whatever you like for a little extra balance. So your legs are underneath your hips. Again, standing up nice and tall. We're just going to start with the hands on the hips themselves. Soften out your knees just a little bit, and then take one leg out in front. And then we're going to exhale, lift, inhale, tap. Exhale, lift, inhale, tap. Even though you're going to feel it in your thigh, in your hip, think about lifting from your core. Exhale, pull it in. It's going to help relieve some of the tension that comes up through the front of the hip joint. So keep that going. I'm just going to show you what it looks like from the side. It's not about how high your leg goes. What it's about is keeping that alignment through your spine. So making sure the shoulders aren't rocking back or we're not leaning forward. Let's do 4 more just like this. Think about stretching your toes out toward the wall in front of you. Now hold that leg up there and little tiny pulses. And as you pulse, inhaling 2 and exhaling 2, think about stretching that leg straight toward me. Good, let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We're gonna hold that leg up there. This is what's called a flutter. It's a little bend and reach through the knee. So from the side, looks like that. Stretch, stretch. And you wanna feel the thigh muscles drawing up toward the hip. Small bend. Exhale with the lengthening. Good, let's go 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Take that leg that you just worked, step it behind you with the heel lifted, soften both knees, and then just press your hips forward. So little tuck and scoop under. And what it's gonna do is just open up the front of that hip because all these muscles work to lift that leg, even though we're putting our brain focus into the core itself. Awesome, let's switch sides. So feet are right underneath the hips, standing tall, knees are just a little bit soft. Take that leg straight out in front of you, and when you're ready, exhale up, inhale down, exhale up, inhale down, nice work. Really remember, put your brain in your belly. Every time that leg comes up, belly button draws inward toward the spine. We're not tucking the pelvis under. The pelvis is staying completely still. We're just drawing the core muscles inward. Good, so the hands on the hips are gonna help us pay attention to the pelvis itself. You are doing a beautiful job. Let's do about 4 more of these. Just like with the previous segment, make sure you're not letting your torso drift from side to side. Next time, hold that leg up there. Little tiny pulses. Remember to try to reach your leg straight toward me. If you really start to feel it up in your hip and it's just bugging you, leg can come down a little bit, releasing that tension, but then really think about stretching and you'll feel that thigh just as much. Breathing, maybe even more, quite frankly. If you lose your balance, no big deal. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 more pulses. And then we go into that flutter, little bend and reach. Bend and reach, bend and reach. Stretch that leg. Really feel that thigh lifting up, up. Good, exhale with the elongation. Stretch those toes straight ahead. Keep breathing. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, 1, and take that leg you just worked. Step it back behind you with the heel off the floor. Soften both knees just a little bit, and then just press those hips forward. Let the front of the leg open up and breathe, always. And this is, of course, where we tend to let go of posture. So just that extra little posture reminder. Whew. It's amazing how something so small can burn so much if you do it right. All about that control. Let's shake the legs out just a little bit. So we're going back to that hip distance and parallel stance. This time, you're gonna take the leg back toward the corner behind you. So it's not directly out to the side, it's not directly back, it's right in between the two. And then you're gonna take your thigh and spin it out. So instead of my thigh and my knee pointing straight ahead, my thigh is gonna turn out a little bit. Doesn't mean I'm turning my hips or my body. So just a little spin from the hip joint. Stand up nice and tall, engage your center. Hands can be at the heart or anywhere that you like for balance. We're gonna lift that leg up, squeezing the outer edge of the seat, and tap the floor. Lift and tap. So just like with the first round, you can use the exhale on either end of this exercise. Think about where it serves you best. Keep breathing. Good. Think about those shoulders sitting right on top of those hips. And what I mean by that is that they stay lined up this way. There is a slight pitch back with the pelvis because of the direction in which the leg is reaching. So I don't mean you have to tuck your pelvis under. Never ever tuck in anything that I do unless it's through spinal movement for a purpose. Let's do 2 more. And then let's take that leg up there, let's hold it up there, and let's do little tiny pulses straight up into the outer edge of your seat. Breathing as you go. Good, standing leg is probably giving us some serious feedback, so remember that you can shake it out if you want to. Let's go for 4. And then I'm gonna give my standing leg quick little shake out. I'm gonna take my working leg back toward the corner again, spin my thigh out, engage the core, lift the leg back up, and bend the knee. And then what you're gonna do is just push across and back, across, across. So it's like my foot is crossing behind my standing leg. Nothing else in my body is shifting at all. And you should feel a squeeze in your booty and in the back of your thigh. So your leg stays lifted the whole time, and we're just pushing across with a nice big exhale. Let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just like we did for round 1, hinge over, soften the knees, and just give yourself that quick little shift from side to side. Good. Let's come back up. Find those feet underneath the hips. Take that leg that's going to be your worker. Not directly side, not directly back, right in between the two. And then take that thigh and gently rotate it open. Stand up nice and tall, zip up your center, and we just start with that lift and squeeze and tap the floor. Lift and squeeze and tap the floor. Remember, breath can go either way. Up and down. Up and down. Good. Think about control. Pilates is all about control. So fast is not the name of the game. The faster we go, the less it's about your muscles, and the more it's about the momentum. We want all muscle, pure muscle. Good. Let's do 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. Now lift that leg up there, find that squeeze, and little tiny pulses up. Sometimes you will get a little bit of feedback in your back in these exercises. Just know the more you zip your front, just like a zipper on a pair of pants, the more that supports your back, but at the same time your back muscles are working. So if they're weaker, they're gonna feel it. We're gonna give ourselves that little break. I need that little shake. And then we're gonna come back into that position. Leg goes toward the corner. Thigh is turned out, standing tall. Lift the leg, bend the knee, flex the foot, and push across, across, across. Nothing else is really moving, and I'm looking for that squeeze right at the base of my seat where the thigh feeds up into the seat. Exhale as you come across, across. Good. That exhale is going to pull the core in. Awesome. We've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hinge it over. Give yourself that little shifty. If you'd prefer to do a couple cat-cows because you're feeling it a little bit more in your back, that's totally awesome as well. Let's do 1 more. Roll it all the way up. So we've got one last little segment to do. For this segment, I'm going to turn sideways. So you're going to stand up nice and tall. Bring your legs together so they touch each other. And don't hesitate to hold on to the back of the chair for this one. So you want to make sure you're zipping up nice and snug. Everything's aligned, ears, shoulders, ribs, and hips. And then all you're going to do is bend this knee. Really important that we start with the pelvis in a neutral position. So we don't want the butt sticking out behind us, nor do we want to be tucking and rounding. Just nice and aligned so your hip bones and your pubic bone, that triangle, are nice and flat in the center. And then all we're going to do is push back, push back, push back. And you're going to feel the back of your thigh fire up, that hamstring. Now, what often will happen is people will let their rear move with them. We don't want that. Zip and freeze that pelvis and push back. So you'll see it's a super teeny tiny little movement. And it's an exhale as you go back. Good. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more, and release. Shake the leg out a little bit. So we're going to do the same leg. Stand up nice and tall, everything connected together. Place that pelvis in neutral. Bend the knee, flex the foot, and then this time it's just a little pulse. So you're just pulling your heel toward your pelvis. Keep that zipper in effect, and you're just gonna feel that contraction in the back of the thigh. Arms can be anywhere for balance. Exhale with that little pulse in, or you can inhale 2. Exhale 2. We're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let's do the other side. This is our last exercise. So after this, we get a quick little stretch. So bring those legs together. Stand up super tall. Engage your core. Again, think about those 3 triangle points. Nice and level through those points. Pull the heel up. Flex it. Then we press back. But remember, we don't take our hips with us. We don't let the ribs leave that connection that they have to the pelvis. And we just push, little tiny push back. Little tiny push back. Good. And I know one of the things that can happen in this exercise is sometimes we'll thrust the head into weird positions. So just think about your ears sitting right on top of your shoulders. Keep zipping up that zipper, just like a pair of pants. Exhale on the pushback. Let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 more. And shake it out real fast. Last exercise. Bring it back into alignment. Pull the heel up. And then it's just little tiny pulses. Pulling the heel toward the pelvis just enough to feel the back of your thigh. The same way you would feel your bicep pop, right? Flex. If you were doing bicep curls and just finding that pulse at the top of the curl. Exhale with the pulse or inhale 2. Exhale 2. We've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake it all out. We're going to take one leg forward with a flexed foot. Tip the hips back behind you like you're shooting your tailbone toward the back wall, and then hinge over. Just enough to really feel the back of your leg stretching. Hold here and breathe. Remember, the deeper the breaths, the easier it is for the muscles to release into the stretch. The more you pull your toes toward your shin, the more you also get that calf, which those muscles, all of those muscles in the lower leg, worked as stabilizer muscles for all that balance that we did. Let's come up and switch sides, flex the foot, tip the tailbone back, hinge over, breathe. You guys did an amazing job. If you have any questions, you can comment or send me an email at Lexi, L-E-X-I, at Alexi, A-L-E-X-I, Cheryl, SHERRILL.com. Come on up. Let's take one ankle, cross it over the opposite thigh. Again, tip your hips back and then sit down. So we're getting the side of the seat in this stretch. Remember, you can always hold on to something for balance. Breathe. The more you can tip that tailbone up and back, the deeper the stretch is going to go. Come on up. So if you like the standing version, go ahead and do that on the other side. I'm just going to show you an option. You can come into a seated position, bringing that heel that's on the floor toward the pelvis, and then walking the chest toward the legs. There's also a laying down version, which you've probably done a lot. So pick the one that works best for you. So if you came down to the floor with me, let's go ahead and uncross, rock it up, come back up to our feet. We're gonna finish just with a simple quad stretch. So find, if you can balance, find a foot in hand. Aim that knee straight toward the floor. Bring the pelvis forward and then draw the thigh backward. Good. And hold and breathe. So very rarely will I ever tell you to press your pelvis forward. In fact, the only times I think I will ever tell you to do it is when you're trying to open up the front of the leg or when we're moving through a cat-cow type movement. Other than that, we don't tuck the pelvis because it disengages part of the core and we want the whole core to work in a neutral position. Let's switch sides. So knee aims down, pelvis presses forward, thigh draws back. Nice deep breaths. If you have done my loop segments and you duck out of frame for 1 second and you have a set of loops and it's challenging to grab your foot, you can always, a little more difficult to set up, but you can always take a loop and use that to pull your leg in. A towel would work really well. So that's what I've got for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.